Gorgeous, isn't it? Crystal clear water, beautiful fresh air, and an absolute adventurer's paradise. I've been coming here to the Snowy Mountains in New South Wales for the last about 25 years and bringing my family to this gorgeous area. But like most of you, I'm not a fan of doing the same thing twice. So on this adventure, we're going to take it to brand new heights. And I sure hope you can come along for the ride. We'll fly to the top of Australia.
It's just a painting up at this height, isn't it?
But that's not the only thing. Getting airtime. I'll show you some top tracks. And the one I want to forget. Stop. And we'll show you the 4 best campsites in the Snowies. And a simple feast that will feed the troops. And I like to call it my cheesy bacon bomb explosion. No wonder we're hooked on the Snowies. We begin in Kosciuszko National Park on Long Plain Road. We'll visit the alpine town of Adaminaby, Snowy Plain and the Gungahlin River, wrapping up on the iconic Lower Snowy Drive from Jindabyne down to the Victorian border. Travelling with me on this journey is my 19-year-old son Bill. And in a few days we'll be joined by magazine editor Wes Whitworth, who's busy in the office on a deadline. So the first leg will be a father-son getaway. Bill and I are in my Ford Ranger Wildtrak towing an Easy Trail Lincoln Mark III. And Wes will catch up to us in his Ford Everest later in the week. If I was recommending to someone who has never been to the Snowy Mountains before where they should go, I would say you've got to start here, Long Plain Road. It is absolutely gorgeous and it really does encompass the very best that the Snowy Mountains has to offer. You have these beautiful vistas that roll out before you. You've got the Brumbies, you've got the huts, you've got the history. This is the place to start. While the name Snowy Mountains suggests a winter wonderland, we're here in spring to get a taste of what's on offer after the snow melts. This area of Australia really is burnt into our psyche. It's what makes us who we are, and I think a big reason for that is surely one of the most classic Australian poems of all time, The Man from Snowy River by Banjo Patterson. Of course, there's plenty of Brumbies running around here, but that is not the way we are exploring today. We are riding our steel horses. All across Long Plain, there are bands of Brumbies. Their numbers have surged in recent years, with as many as 20,000 in Kosciuszko National Park, putting pressure on delicate grasses and fragile wetlands. Efforts to cull them has created a great divide. I tell you, if you were a Brumby, you'd be mad to live anywhere else. Green pick all year round, beautiful fresh water running right through this place. And it's pretty interesting, just observing this area. There's fire all around, but on Long Plain, the fire never really touched this particular valley. And it makes you wonder whether the Brumbies are actually doing part of the job that the mountain cattlemen over the border in Victoria talk about, where because there is that livestock on the ground, they keep things to a manageable level. So sure, they're not going to stop fires coming through, but the fires may not be quite so ferocious because there's not as much fuel to burn thanks to the Brumbies. I don't know if that's actually the case. I am not a scientist, nor do I claim to be, but it really does make you wonder when you drive up this road. Off Long Plain Road, we take a hard left in search of something a little more challenging. Broken Cart Trail, it kicks off nice and high at an elevation of about 1,400 metres above sea level, and up there you are well and truly into the snow country. In fact, this track is closed for much of the winter period, but when you dive down into the valleys, it changes quite dramatically. It gets more scrubby, there are more obstacles, and it is a beautiful contrast. Track conditions down here are changing too. And just around the corner, a lovely stretch of sticky mud. Here we go. It's not a particularly difficult patch, but it's enough to get our Ford Ranger rocking and rolling, and one of our BFGs airborne. I love a bit of muddy fun. It's worth knowing that if you ever feel a tyre popping up off the ground like this, don't let that freak you out. Keep feeding the power through to the tyres and you'll be amazed where these machines can take you. If you do button off, that's when the trouble can start. Having the Outback Armour suspension makes a huge difference. The adjustable shockies really help with the ride, especially towing a trailer. Back on higher ground, there are reminders of the early pioneers in whose tracks we are following. There are many and varied huts around the Snowy Mountains, but Coal Mine Hut is one of my favourites because it really does display so much of the hard work and effort that went on in this area. You only need to look at the individual axe cuts in the timbers to work out that the people that settled this area were hard people settling a pretty harsh land. We're on our way into the campground now, and I tell you, I have never met an alpine gum I don't like. There's a lot of gum trees around this country, but there is something so special about that beautiful, pristine, pure white bark on an alpine gum. Nothing comes close in my eyes. Wrapped in a thicket of those gums is Callinan Mountain camping area. The sun drops quickly and so does the mercury. It's a perfect time to whip up a hot meal and enjoy a feed with Bill while watching the bush television crackle and burn. A few steps away from the fire, a stocky wombat is wandering. And in the darkness, the night sky is beaming. Next, an amazing drive through the high country. A hearty mountain meal guaranteed to fill you up. And I like to call it my cheesy bacon bomb explosion. And make sure you check out the Mr. 4x4 app at mr4x4.com.au.